to use this mic? No. Hi, it's so good to see everyone's bottom halves. And I mean that in the best politically correct way, since I've been Zooming with everybody for the last year. I'm not quitting my day job. I'm, as the announcer with the great voice said, I'm Robin Bronk. I'm CEO of the Creative Coalition, and we thank the Woodstock Film Festival for inviting us here. So thank you, Festival. Thank you all for coming. And hopefully you enjoyed your swag today, those free COVID tests. I mean, Creative Coalition, we are always taking care of you. So for those of you who don't know us, and for those of you who do, please feel free to recite in unison. The Creative Coalition is the nonprofit, nonpartisan, public service arm of the entertainment industry. We were galvanized about 30 years ago by the actors Chris Reeve and Ron Silver, Susan Sarandon, and Alec Baldwin, and the heads of HBO and Showtime, because back then that's all there was in cable, but now we have streamers and cables and networks, and we use the power of the entertainment industry to support social welfare issues for the common good. And we have one mission, though, and that's to ensure that arts live and thrive and flourish in this nation. We work very hard to ensure that the National Endowment for the Arts is funded every year, and that there are arts in schools, and that the next generation of you all will get to come to festivals, hopefully not have to be swabbed at festivals. A girl can dream. So the other thing that's very important to recognize as a nonprofit is that the Creative Coalition we can't do our mission without support from people like you and those in the room. And there is a tech card on each of your tables, if someone could pick that up. And I assume everybody can read. So it says, to donate, text GIVE to 954-787-4822. Do it in the name of your art teacher, do it in the name of your film teacher, do it in the name of getting swabbed for COVID here today. Because the only reason we exist is through kind and generous and even not so generous donations. We're good for anything. Come on, sit down. Yeah, we got food. It's going to be good. I promise. You're swabbed. Oh, hello, Susan. She's one to talk to here. So one of the great things about the Creative Coalition is that we're professional yentas in the entertainment industry. Our other goal is we put together relationships. So if you have a film project that you're trying to get financed, or a new television or streaming show that you're trying to get greenlit, if you don't get it done here today, then it's just, it's not worth it. So here in this room, and also we do great relationships too. So just saying, that's also a benefit. But I started to tell you, our partner here today is Novo Nordisk, and Novo Nordisk is our presenting sponsor. We're profoundly grateful for their passion and unwavering support and commitment to the arts. Thank you. What's particularly exciting is that, for those of you who don't know or didn't read the fine print on the invitation, one of the things we're celebrating here today are 4 short films that Novo Nordisk gave us a grant to give to filmmakers to do on the issue of obesity. And I say that without averting my eyes and without whispering it. Because obesity, similar to what mental illness was a dozen years ago, is the last shame and blame disease plaguing our country and our world. Obesity. It's a disease that affects 4 out of 10 Americans. Almost half the people that you know. And as I said, similar to what we did to bring mental illness, attention to sexual harassment, and making a diversity and inclusion priorities, we are hoping that you will focus your creative capital on unveiling the shame and blame surrounding obesity. Later on today, we have our 4 short films that tackle that theme that is showing at 4 o'clock. And the title of that anthology is IRL, The Human Experience. We're very excited that's having their world premiere at the Woodstock Film Festival. And as the Creative Coalition does, we don't just step into something with our toes, we dive right in. So for the last couple years, we've been doing things with Novo Nordisk called the Voices of Impact dinner series. What's that? That's when we bring writers together and showrunners and executives and people who make decisions from all the networks and all the cables and all the streamers to talk about this issue, to stop whispering it, stop averting your eyes. We have the short film competition where you'll meet the filmmakers today. I'm very excited about that, and congratulations to our filmmakers. And we also did several PSAs, one of which you'll see today, on the impact of obesity in this COVID epidemic. So that's all we ask you to do today we ask you to give and think about this issue and think about the power that you have to make change. Because we have the recipe. We know it can be done, and you have the power. And with that, I want to bring out our presenting sponsor, Novo Nordisk Cardio Metabolic Market Development and Partnership Lead, Yvonne Bryant.
So good afternoon. It's really, really nice to be here with all of you. And on behalf of Novo Nordisk, I just want to say thank you for your time. As Robin mentioned, we've been partnering with the Creative Coalition now for a couple of years. And it really is because we truly believe in the mission of using the power of the arts to tell a story to make a difference. And I know Robin talked about some of those conditions. We look at things like mental health and other stigmatized chronic conditions. We really want to make a change in how things are being talked about, because we believe that that can change society in a way that is everlasting. And we focus in on obesity mainly because we know it's impacting millions of Americans, right? I mean, 4 out of 10 of your viewers are living with obesity. And whether it's my family members who I represent, whether it's my friends, whether it's people we know, it's a conversation that needs to change. And when you look at the population and the disparities, specifically in African American and Latinx communities, there's such disparity in those populations. And so the story and using the arts that you guys have to use your voice is what we want to encourage you to continue to do. It makes such a difference for a lot of people. And we want people to understand that obesity is not just a matter of willpower, saying that you've caused this to yourself, because we know there's so many other impacting factors like genetics and biology, even the environment in which we live in that plays a role in that. And how can we shift that conversation and make a difference? And so I just want to say thank you on behalf of Novo Nordisk for the filmmakers. We are so proud and so excited to support these shorts and cannot wait to see them this afternoon. But especially to all of you that continue to support the Creative Coalition. Thank you, Robin and team, for having us and allowing us to partner with you on this journey. And please enjoy the meal. Thank you.
All right, on with the show. And this is we're gonna feed you. We're gonna wine and dine you, but think and ask and look and ask questions. And Judy Arthur is in the room. Thank you. See, that's the hard thing. I remember everybody. So please text to give. All right, let's call into the hot seats our short film competition winners. Okay, I need everybody's attention, and then you'll get to talk. All right, we have our first filmmaker and winner of the Creative Coalition and Novo Nordisk Short Film Grant, Fat Life, written and directed by Emmy and Tony Award winner Gallo, who has also won Emmys and Tonys for Sesame Street, Drowsy, Chaperone, and August Wilson's Jitney, among many other things. David Gallo. Okay. The Untitled have an idea for a title, please see Stephen. It's in workshop now. The Untitled Weight and Comedy Project, directed by Academy Award nominated director Stephen Kessler. You might know him from Paul Williams' Still Alive and the Vacation franchise. Saint Nick. Our filmmaker is Greg DePaul, who also wrote Saving Silverman and Bride Wars, among other things. And rounding out our A team is the filmmaker written and produced by Emmy Award nominated Kelly Jenrette, who Karen Kendrick is here today, who produced You Just Big Bone. You may know Karen from Just Mercy and The Hate You Give. We all have these. I guess if we start getting emotional. I'm not really sure what that's for, but you know. Hi, welcome and congratulations, everybody. I was gonna read the description of the films, but like you have the real deal here. So I'm gonna start with to give a short description of your short, which is, again, premiering at 4 o'clock. David, why don't we start with you? Tell us about Fat Life.
Fat Life is what I call, it's called a silent musical. It's a short film about the lives of two people who are born and covers their lives up until they have families of their own and how they struggle with obesity.
Right.
St. Nick is about two guys who end up in an Uber together, who end up in a discussion that actually involves wearing masks and sort of spirals into something that touches on the issue of obesity.
Sarah.
Thank you. You Just Big Boned is what we tell ourselves to make it okay.
Yeah.
And so we explore a young girl's life into womanhood. And we explore if it's okay and why not and where that whole idea comes from.
My film is about fat jokes and why people tell them and why people laugh at them and why people still laugh at them and why people still tell them and why people, some overweight, it's about overweight comedians and why some comedians choose not to tell them. That's what it's about.
One thing I want to point out, the competition for this grant, we're looking forward to doing more of them at some point. The competition for this grant was very fierce, and it was a lot of work to compete, I know. And I was just wondering, I mean, you all are very successful in your own right. David, why did you do this?
I felt that I had something to say about the subject. You know, when I first saw it, I thought to myself, well, what can I do about that? I realized a tremendous amount. I was overweight for most of my life, severely so for chunks of it. And I thought I would not write something autobiographical, but I could take my actual experiences in life that I think were, you know, unless you're overweight, they're not something that you would even think about, and turn them into the successful 24 minutes and 37 seconds.
Stephen, how about you? Why did you do this?
You know, when I was a kid, I've dealt with weight issues my whole life, and when I was a kid, the comedians that I really loved were like Jackie Gleason and Tony Fields and Rodney Dangerfield, people who are overweight and made fun of themselves for being overweight, or would stand there while other people made fun of them for being overweight. And you know, recently I've just been thinking about how maybe that made them feel, and also how it made me feel as a kid, and so that's what I did.
I have a question on yours, Stephen. One of the, you know,
Yes, Robin.
Stay around. We talk, you know, having seen the various rough cuts of it, you cringe at some of the stuff that was okay at some point in time, and some most recently. Some of your clips go back 50 years and some go back a year.
Well, what better way to talk about something you just finished to a room full of people who haven't seen
Oh,
it?
shoot, that's why I'm not.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
I was trying to
well,
work
you
there
know,
out.
no, I mean, there's shit that people used to do that some of it's no longer acceptable and some of it people still do. So, you know, it's not like people don't laugh at fat jokes anymore, but it's kind of like, why do they laugh at fat jokes? Jonah Hill, this summer, paparazzi took a picture of him, and you know Jonah Hill's weight's gone up and down, and paparazzi took pictures of him on the beach with his shirt off, and to sell. And Jonah Hill's reaction was to put them on Instagram, and he said, "The reason I'm putting this photo on Instagram is because till I was 35 years old, I would not take my shirt off in public, and I want kids who are my fans to know, who are dealing with weight issues, to know that they don't have to be ashamed to take their shirt off or to sing with their shirt off." And that was the kind of stuff I wanted to talk to comedians about. You know, are you afraid that if you lose weight, your audience won't think you're funny anymore? You know, were you made fun of as a kid? All these kind of things. So that's my story.
Karen, what about, I mean, you talked about growing up in the South and houses, you know, you just big bone. When you were filming it, and I know you have kids in the film, how did you all deal with that? And talk about that.
Yeah, it's something that we were acutely aware of. Kelly, part of this is Kelly's story. As a child, the nicknames that she was called when she was younger, you'll hear. And we were concerned about how the young girls might react. You know, would they be able to distinguish between reality and the script? One of our lead young girl, it's so funny. She was just like, I'm a star, so they can say what they want to say. It doesn't really matter, which we loved. But it was, you know, part of it, the kids were very cruel, and the other young girls are actors as well, but we definitely had the conversation with the girls and with the parents to kind of see where they were, because we didn't want this to be something that negatively impacted them.
What were some of your challenges, Greg?
Everything that we did was, I did it all at home. I mean, you know, after a year of COVID, then to suddenly have like a film crew of like 9 people in my house with my family who were kind of addicted, and the doing work with everyone, I think, had this doing work, or I know she did, doing work with actors, and you know, in COVID was an incredible challenge, and to get them to work and to get them to try to make it safe for them.
On the filmmaking side, I mean, one of the things that your film, it feels like a big film. Talk about how you were able to do that within a budget.
I got this DP guy named Steve Calitri, sort of well-known, I guess his most well-known credit is Broad City. And so he was used to working with 2 people in a car, 2 people anywhere. And he was like, we have to have, you know, this type of camera. We used an Alexa Mini Pro. And we put a lot into that, and you can only rent it for a very short period of time. But it, you know, I think I found the right person who could shoot it from the right angles to make it feel big.
David, talk about the casting of yours and how you, and something very special about David, it's a silent musical, as you call it. And also talk about the casting.
Well, yeah, I mean, just this, when I say silent musical, there's no spoken voice throughout the entire film. It's a true silent movie, although there is live sound a few times. But there are production numbers, there's songs, ballets, there's all sorts of music throughout. The film was actually scored before it was written. So that's why I call it that. Sorry, what was your question? Sorry.
I like hanging out with you. Because I don't know. No, the question was, talk about casting.
Oh, casting. So sorry.
You have some interesting.
Yeah, we wanted really strong physical comedians, and so we work in the circus. We have a background. My producer and partner Vivica Gardner has a background in the circus, and so through that we were able to look through a lot of different clowns, and we knew we wanted clowns in order to do this physical silent comedy. And so, you know, again, because of COVID, we had to limit our choices a little bit, but we found people that we knew or knew of, and they were wonderful and played the two leads. And then the cast of thousands, you never actually see, you only see them in shadow. The whole film is done, there's a lot of shadow play, so that was our both combination of crew and performer.
I have sort of a question that, you know, I don't even feel comfortable asking it, but we're among friends. But when you were casting it, when you were casting it, did you have, was it necessary that the actors, those of you who had narrative films, that the actors have obesity, or did you go by, you know, again, we're in this culture now, is it actors should be actors to do anything, or were you only casting actors with obesity?
For the roles that required it, we cast actors with obesity. And, you know, it can get tricky because to what extent and how does that play into how you tell the story? And, you know, what level of obesity are the actors experiencing? And so those are questions that we had to ask. And again, you work so hard to be respectful of people's experience. But also you have to communicate, and I think that one of the things that helped us is that we honored the work, we honored what the story required, and we honored people just as we would with any project. We had tough conversations, we had tears on set, we had one actor in particular who heard herself, in her words, she heard herself for the first time saying the things that she's been saying all these years. And so it was a moment for her to really reflect on what that meant for her as a person, not just saying these words as a character. There were revelations on set, and we took time for those. You know, we had to take a moment and acknowledge what was happening in that moment and then move forward. But yeah, there were definitely, you know, there was one actor in particular who was brilliant, but she would not have served the story in the way that we needed, and so we had to continue the search.
How did you deal with the kids? Because some of the part is the kids making fun, and how did you get them to deal with that?
So the group of kids, I have an academy, and so acting is one of the things that I teach, and actually Kelly teaches too in my academy, and so the kids are all academy students. They attend a magnet school and then they take classes with us, so they're actors. So they understood, you know, and Patricia Cuffy-Jones, our director, just guided them on in. Watching the auditions, we were kind of like, oh, you have no problem being a mean girl. I guess that's good. Some of the auditions, you know, we had to kind of clutch our pearls and wipe a few tears. It took us to places, but they went in. And then, like I said before, Kara Cardosa, who is the lead young girl who's on the receiving end of a lot of the taunting, we were particularly concerned with her to make sure that she was going to be okay in the process and checking in. And, you know, we talked to her, we talked to her mom, we talked to the other girls. We made time and space for that. And, you know, even months later, she's okay.
Greg, how about when you were casting, and did you talk to the actors? It's a two-hander, it's two people in it. Did you talk to the actors beforehand about their own views of the issue of obesity, or tell me how you went around it?
Yeah, I mean, it was awkward. You know, you had set me up to talk to some doctors, and the doctors emphasized, you know, what we might consider obese is certainly a spectrum, or someone who's struggling with obesity is certainly a spectrum. So I was happy to have an actor who playing the person struggling with obesity who was not just sort of overtly like it would just be like this is just visual, you know. So I was able to talk to him about it, and he told me about his history, and you know, my wife thinks I should do this, and maybe I should get this surgery, and it was interesting. I learned a lot just having that conversation. So he was pretty comfortable with dealing with it.
David, did you do? I think you told me. Did you do anything with your actors beforehand, or did you do any type? I remember. How did you prepare?
We have our design studio is large enough that we were able to rehearse inside, and so we had masks and social distancing and all that, but we were able to rehearse production numbers in the studio before we went actually into the photography.
Stephen, I'm afraid to ask you a question, but I'm gonna go for it.
Why are you afraid to ask me a question?
You chastised me before.
Okay, well, because people
In front of
were.
all my friends.
Do you know that Robin and I were in second grade together?
And he literally did pull my pigtails. If you can say
And
I've never
I just
forgiven
as a 30-second backstory, I had done a film called Paul Williams Still Alive. This distributor said there is a woman who runs a great nonprofit called the Creative Coalition, and she said she was in second grade with you, and we talked, and she said, "Do you recognize me?" I said, "Yeah, you have the same haircut." She had the same bag.
I do.
It was wild.
I just, yeah. I can't seem to get out of that box. But, so Stephen, I know in the way the movie morphed and you saw it, is it where it landed, is it different from what you originally conceived?
Well, I still consider this film a little bit to be a work in progress, and is it different than what I conceived? The thing with documentary is I think it's super important to have an idea of what the story might be and then just let it go and listen and pay attention to what you see. And unlike when you when you do a scripted film where you have scenes and you do coverage and you kind of know where everything goes, when you do a documentary you shoot 1,000 things and then you just look at them all on a wall. You go like, oh, what order does this go in? So yeah, I mean the answer is kind of yes and no, but I kind of also, because I'm writing afterwards, but I'm not primarily writing. It's like I'm kind of so rooting for the people in the film that I'm very happy to watch them. So I guess.
Greg, what about your film? Because I know we talked about it in one some way, and then how did you land on where it ends up without giving it away?
I was talking about this with David yesterday. I just wanted my character to be pushed into a position where he could say what was really on his mind and his heart, and kind of get it out. And I wanted to find some organic way to, it's the Willy Loman strategy, they call it. Only when you're trapped in a room and you lose everything or someone really puts you in a position, can you say the thing that's on your mind.
Or trapped in a...
Trapped in an Uber, that's even worse. Exactly.
Where we've all been. We have time for one or two questions from the audience if anyone has a question. And we have a clean microphone too. Any questions? Because you haven't seen the film yet.
Hey, just I have mic 8.
Oh, there's a question. Or there's a mic a fresh autoclaved mic is coming at you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. As someone not super familiar with this grant and how this all came about, how did you all find out about this? And are you all members of the Creative Coalition? And how did this opportunity arise? And how long was the process of creation?
Well, I met Robin recently online and went and became.
It's not like we were stalking people online.
Met many.
We were at his Zoom.
Sorry, I didn't meet her online. Sorry, met the.
Although I would like
The
to.
coalition on Zoom and participated in all the different Zoom events. And it was at some point during that, I'm not sure exactly specifically how, we discovered the grant, and that's when I thought, I could actually say something with that.
So, the Creative Coalition is a membership organization. You just need to apply to go to thecreativecoalition.org or talk to, and I want to thank my colleagues Barb Horvath and Rachel Kleinhandler. I know you will miss getting their emails tomorrow. But you can see them about, there's applications to join, and then the grant process is something we announced, and it was opened up. So any other questions?
Hi, I'm Coco Quinn. My question's for Patricia. I'm working on a project right now about weight loss and the journey as a woman, and one of the things that keeps coming up is sexual assault or harassment and how that ties into overeating or trying to hide. And I was wondering if you came up with any of those kind of issues with the girls when you were doing your project.
Karen.
Karen, yes. Patricia Covey-Jones is our director.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Oh, Patricia. Oh, okay. I'm Karen. So, I'm sorry. So you were asking if we tell me one more time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so if, particularly with women, if it's, if you came up with people who were gaining weight or holding on to weight to be more invisible, and how to come to healthy terms with that.
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful thing to explore, though. Ours centered more on family relationships, family traditions, the experience. 4 out of 5 African American women have obesity. And so what is that experience and why? The kind of intergenerational aspect of it, how we relate to one another, and like what's at the root of it. One thing that Kelly, she's the lead on our project. And one thing she said was, we don't have any answers. We want to ask all the questions. And so this piece is really about exploration. It's really about asking questions and trying to figure out the different whys of people's experience.
And actually, it's interesting that that comes up because as I mentioned, one of the things Creative Coalition had taken on years ago was mental illness and helping to normalize the stigma of mental illness through the entertainment industry. So that's something that actually has come up, and how it does unfortunately blend together. But it goes back to you as filmmakers have an incredible, powerful platform to get the world to change. And I often say, when Al Gore was vice president and he talked about climate change, no one really listened. When he made a movie, the world started changing. So, and then I'm just going to add this one other actor that was a member of the Creative Coalition, who we were talking to a couple weeks ago and talking about this issue, and we have an entertainment industry advisory council on this issue, and she said, the bigger I get, and her weight and having obesity has fluctuated through the years, the bigger I get, the more invisible I feel. I thought that was interesting. So, with that, I have the sign that says, wrap it up. Got it.
One last question.
Oh, let's have one last question.
I'm wondering if any of you have ever read a book called Such a Pretty Face. It was written quite a long time ago, and also, I mean, it covered the area of parental, oh God, I'm almost 80 years old.
I know
so
exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, the parental,
The way parents
The
would
way that
say,
parents
but she
will-
has such a
yeah,
pretty
the
face.
way that parents make it acceptable to be obese, and the competition sometimes between a parent, particularly a mother, and a child in terms of obesity, of keeping that child obese, because it justifies her obesity. Has anyone's film dealt with that particular dynamic?
My movie's more like a series of Saturday morning cartoons. So.
I did people in my film, without giving away what they talk about their parents, how their parents treated their obesity, and how it affected them. So, yeah.
No, in my case as well, but I don't know the book, and I'd love to read it. It's funny, that term, I was just talking about that with my wife a couple weeks ago. I've heard that term used in all kinds of sort of subtly mean ways.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of that. Thank you.
So to wrap it up, I do want to say, so you heard it here. We are giving you this challenge. Take on this destigmatizing. Please help us make obesity the last of the shame and blames. Please, through your creativity, help us make a difference. And again, I want to thank our presenting sponsor, Novo Nordisk, and Yvonne, and Joe Chaperone, and Neil, and Liz. I'm going to say your name right this time. Liz Scavordos. Skabarada. Liz. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy. If anyone wants tickets to the 4 o'clock premiere, see Barb. We probably have a couple more. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick. We have the biggest celebrity that is walking around Woodstock, Mira, who is director of the festival, stopped in.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you, the Creative Coalition. I have been attending Creative Coalition events in Sundance, at Rebecca, in different places. This is the first time that the Creative Coalition is holding this beautiful event here at the Woodstock Film Festival with the Luncheon, and then the Swords program just a couple of hours later at 4 p.m. Please join us for that. I have known this woman for a long time. Back in the day, a few years ago,
When
we
we
were
were 12.
with you. Robin Bronk is amazing, and her dedication to the Creative Coalition is really unparalleled. And so I thank you for all the incredible work that you do. And I thank everybody here. Many of you are part of the Woodstock Film Festival in some way and attending it. I thank you. Without you, there wouldn't be a film festival. And all the filmmakers here, including the filmmakers of this afternoon's show, thank you so much for all the work that you do. And yeah, I'll see you at the movies. Please tell your friends. So we have Saturday and Sunday. And I want to recognize at least one person here, Roger Ross Williams, who we are honoring tonight with the Maverick Award, honorary award. And Roger is an Academy Award winning filmmaker, and he's done many documentaries, including a narrative. It's about to come out as soon as it's done editing. Anyway, so thank you all. Enjoy the beautiful lunch. Come to the movies. And Robin, thank you for all this.
Thank you.
Very much
Thank
appreciated.
you. You're the first of many times.